Jersey Central is on location. We are back inside the rehearsal space at the interim home of George Street Playhouse in New Brunswick. Brand new show that is on stage now through April 8th called Trying. And if that title is kind of makes you think of a couple different things, it actually means a couple of different things in this great show here. Got a few minutes to spend here with the lead actress in the show, one of the stars of the show who plays the role of Sarah. Let's say hello to Carly Zien, who is with us here today. Carly, thank you, and thanks for taking some time to chat before tonight's big show, right?
You're so welcome. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
I saw the show, and I thought about the sort of, I don't know if generations sort of misinterpret what the previous or next generation means, mm-hmm. and I saw a lot of that on stage between you, your character, and the other character. One sort of being a veteran person set in his ways, mm-hmm. and the next generation doesn't know anything. Your character is sort of like the next generation finding their place and their role in life, mm-hmm. but there was some common ground between the two. Talk about the common ground that two generations share in this show.
Well, that's a really that's a good observation. I'm glad that you noticed that, and I think what the common ground is that they find is that both of them are human. Both of them have fears. Both of them have had trouble in their relationships. Both of them have been hurt and had loss. And those are the places that they find where they can come together and be, to develop a relationship that turns into a kind of love, I think. But they learn from each other. I think Biddle learns from Sarah some things about the younger generation, even about technology that he wouldn't have learned without her, and she learns about what it is to age and the fear of death coming on and things like that, and so that's I think what's happening there.
Now, it was very much two very different people at different periods in their lives, but they still found some things that they were kind of in sync with, mm-hmm. Things happening in their professional lives and their personal lives, and there was some common ground there that I think the audience was able to relate to.
Yeah.
Talk about how that experience is for you and just that being able to relate to that character on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone who sees it can relate to aging members of the family and their little quirks and their habits and their values that start to become more prominent as they age, that they want to pass on to the next generation. And Sarah also has the task of helping Biddle record the parts of his life and write down the parts of his life that he wants to be remembered. So she has that added responsibility as well. And for me, I mean, there was the play imitated life because Philip and I are different generations, and we have different ways of working, and we found a way to be in sync with each other that is really beautiful. So it kind of reflected the process that we all go through, learning from our elders. And I don't know if my generation really respects our elders as much as we may have in the past, and I think Sarah does respect her elders, and she wants to learn from Biddle, and she wants him to be the man that she knows he's capable of being, and I think Biddle wants Sarah to be the woman that she's capable of being.
I think each generation can learn a little bit about the other generation by coming to this show, and that's kind of what I came away with.
I'm so glad.
There's a little bit of a physical aspect to this too.
Yeah.
Your co-star, maybe somebody that doesn't get around quite so well, and Sarah going through some physical changes in her life as well. There's a little bit of a physical demand for you in this show. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, that's so cool that you noticed that. If you come see the show, you'll see that the Biddle, the older character, has some physical ailments that are impeding his ability to get things done, as well as he's kind of losing his memory and things like that as well. And Sarah, I don't want to spoil it, but she goes through something as well that changes her physical circumstances. And I think it's really beautiful how the playwright did that, in that as Biddle's deteriorating, she's growing into this new phase of her life, and I was really blessed to have great physical training. So I went to school for acting and things like that, and I learned a lot about how to how to create physicality on stage. So it's a great opportunity for me to practice that and change, and it changes throughout the play, which is something that I really like about working on this character.
Sure. The show is based on the real life experiences of a real person. Is that challenging as an actor to play a real person, or would you rather play a fictional character?
I think I love playing real people. I wish I could have met the playwright Joanna Glass and talked to her and asked her a million questions. And she did leave us a little voicemail that said good luck and wishing us well. And I think it's amazing that she wrote this story. And I like playing all characters, so I think when you have a little bit more raw material, I think when you're playing a real person, because you can base things. She gives so much information in the play about who she was and working for this man and what the relationship was like. But if you're not playing a real person, I find that I can create a lot of stuff in my imagination. So I liked the combination of both. If I'd met her, I think I would have had even more to bring to the process.
Jim Jack is directing. He's got a great track record with George Street Playhouse. Talk about what it's been like working with Jim Jack.
Jim is really wonderful. I really liked working with him, and it was I think it was important to have a director who is really emotionally he's just really he's got a really high emotional intelligence, I think, and he has he works with us in a really interesting way. Like he first we had to get down the lines because there's only two people and there's a lot of talking, and the scenes are really long. So first we had to do that. Then we had to figure out all the business, which is like the moving of the papers everywhere and changing the costumes and all that stuff. And there's a lot of that in this show as well. And then we were able to kind of frost the cake with the emotional connection that the characters have to the things in their lives. And I really appreciate the way that Jim did that. And he also gave us a really cool foundation in history and what was going on during the time. And I know we did a lot of research, probably more than Philip and I were able to do because the process was pretty fast. And it was just a pleasure. It was really great to work
with Jim. Yeah. Where else can we see Carly Zien?
Well, you can visit my website at www.carlyzien.com. That's CarlyZien.com. You can find me on social media. It's just my name, Carly Zien, and you can also see my reel and other stuff that I've been working on my website. Well,
terrific. A great job on stage as Sarah in
Thank
this
you
show,
so much.
And continued success with this, and it will be on stage here at George Street Playhouse at the interim home at 103 College Farm Road in New Brunswick now through April 8th. You can get tickets at georgestreetplayhouse.org or call the box office 732-246-7717, but do not miss trying on stage at George Street Playhouse. Thanks so much for the time. Continued success.
Thank you.
You got some work ahead of you tonight, don't you?
Yeah, thanks so much. I got to go get in my costume.
Don't let me hold you up. Thank you.
Thank you.